Rated AG in the mix.
Stay clean, on top about 1 gram crease jeans, on top about. Yep, that's just that Midwest swag in the city. I'm ready for that rock in the city, on top about. Rock killer, 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 rock killer. Stay clean, on top about 1 gram crease jeans, on top about. Yep, that's just that Midwest swag in the city. Y'all rep for that rock in that city, on top about. I stay a player, on top about. Call it different type of debonair, on top about. Rocking my dive, having fresh alligators to match. Putting that stick to the next hit.
Rated AG in the mix.
We gotta listen to the smooth sounds.
Rated AG in the mix.
Love is such a powerful thing, especially if you just throwing the word around and it's not what you truly mean. Relationships, they don't last these days, cause how the people play it. I was taught if I don't feel the love, it's better not to say it. If I speak it, please believe it, it's meaningful. Straight from that vessel, they keep us all alive. Gotta love to survive. A natural, genuine connection that some might despise. Ain't gotta say a word, you can tell from the look in their eyes. See, from the start, it's smart, you put the guard, just protect your heart. Cause these savages, irregardlessly, will rip the shit apart. In the beginning, you win. You got your queen and things. Then out of nowhere, now you both saying the meanest things. When you work with anger, that can turn the love into a stranger. Best friend to your frenemy. Can make it safe and turn to danger. R.I.P. to the fallen angels watching me from above. With all the hatred in the world, it got me wondering, where is the love? Where is the love when the sun ain't shining? Ooh, you better take a struggle, but you gotta keep on grinding. Whatever it is that keeps it going,
yeah. Y'all know what time it is now. I'm about to keep going this. Yeah, it's going down, y'all. That nigga bless from the go. Bless from the go. It's all city in the building, y'all. That nigga bless from the go. And the bless you didn't know. That nigga's bless with the souls. So.
Rated AG in the mix.
Yo, this is Steve and Cedric talking to the band.
Hey,
Steve,
what up? My name's Cedric Hanson. How y'all doing out there, y'all? What's happening?
Man, we rocking with AG today.
Yeah, hey, yes, we are. You know who it is.
Yeah. Listen, if you are listening right now, we want you to call somebody, tag somebody, text somebody. Let them know that Steve and Cedric talking to the band is on live right now. Call somebody, tag somebody, and text somebody, and let them know that we're on. If you missed any of our previous episodes, make sure you tune into our YouTube channel. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the alert button, and you will be notified when we upload new videos. Cedric, where else can they find us?
Oh, man, you can check us out at Steve and Cedric Talking to the #2 band on Instagram and Twitter. That's Steve and Cedric Talking to the #2 band on Instagram and Twitter, y'all. Check us out.
AG, baby, I see you. What's happening?
What up?
What's happening? Steve, what's happening? Live, what's happening? YouTube. When it gets to YouTube, what's happening to everybody, man? Good day.
Yes, sir, man. We're so happy to have you on the show.
Yes,
man.
we are, man. We appreciate you coming on, man.
Glad to be here, man. It's an honor to be on the show, man. I've been watching and seeing the interviews. It's awesome what y'all doing, man. So I love it.
Man, tell us what's been happening, AG. I know that you had the whole COVID-19, everybody quarantine, lockdown, trying to stay social distance. And and masked up. What's been going on with AG? What's new? What can we look forward to?
Interestingly enough, I have a 9 to 5 too, so I'm on the front line of COVID in the capacity of work that I do during the day. In terms of my entertainment stuff, honestly, it slowed down, from about March till about July. And then as the city started to go into the different phases of COVID, work started to pick up. And I think it's kind of one of those time periods where you can kind of measure where you're at artistically, meaning if people hired you during COVID, you had to be pretty okay at what you do. Especially if you consider the crowd amounts have to be lower. And so, people are having events with 25 to 50 people and still paying the DJ what they charge, and so that also shows that people, no matter what's going on, they still feel the need to be entertained. And so, honestly, since July, it's been as regular as I've allowed it to be, in terms of I take some gigs and some I don't, but the ones I've taken, it's been great. And, I've been working pretty constant, honestly.
Man, you like the only cat I know that go by 2 letters in the alphabet, AG, and everybody know who you're talking about.
Yeah, they sure do.
Everybody know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
So, man, AG, you've been in this business like 17 years, I think. So, how'd this all get started, man? I mean, how'd you get going?
Well, it'll be 17 on what's today? Tomorrow. Yeah, it'll be 17 tomorrow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. Started October 25th, 2003. I was working at the Brick House Lounge in Rockford, Illinois. The DJ called off. I laugh when I think about that because the DJ called off that night, like it's a drama. And they were asking me to try to find someone to DJ. This is a true story.
Wow.
And I actually started calling people. I started calling people to see if they could come spin. I called somebody in Beloit. I called somebody around here. And no one was available, last minute. So I grabbed my CD booklet and my DVD player. Yes. And I took it over to the Brick House and I DJ'd that night. And then I was asked to come back and DJ again. And, to be honest, at the time, I really liked the reaction I got from the crowd and just the energy in the room. And so that's really how my DJ career started. Someone called off. And I always think back to like if someone would have actually answered the call to come DJ that night, would I have become a DJ? So that's one of those mysteries, I guess. But I'm glad I went ahead and went in and DJ'd that first night. Here we are 17 years later.
Wow, man. Incredible.
Wow, man.
That's amazing.
That's crazy, man. Yeah. I mean, your resume, man, it's like a who's who, man, of good grief, man. I mean, you work with such artists, man, as Kendrick the Family Stone, Carl Thomas, R.A.N. Nesby, Byron Cage. I mean, rap artists, Chance the Rapper. I mean, you work with all kinds of comedians, man. Wow, man, this is crazy, man. How did you know that this is what you want to do for a profession?
Well, as you heard the story, I didn't know, but in terms of once I started, I would say once the feedback from the people to start with, I think that if you're a smart entertainer, you have to, you have to be willing to engage with the crowd and understand, where you stand artistically. So, the feedback I got from people, saying, can you DJ my next party, stuff like that. It just kind of made me feel like, okay, I at least know what I'm doing. It wasn't until, so that was 2003 when I started. I moved to Normal in 2005 to go to a college near Illinois State University. And that's when I knew, because once I got there, that was nothing but a college crowd. And the college crowd could be real brutal. That's like going to Showtime at the Apollo. And if you're bad, they're gonna let you know, and they're gonna let you know real quickly. So I remember I did my first party, and I go to the setup, and I see a whole rig that I had never used before, and I had 20 minutes to figure it out. And so, and I'll get to this later, but I think that there's a God component to everything that we end up doing. And so when you got 20 minutes to figure out something that you've never used before, only God can really take you by the hands at that point. So that's what happened. I looked at the buttons; they looked similar to stuff I used before. It was nothing like the DVD player, and you know, I had to do the party. I did the party, and then from there, you know, I realized that, you know, a college campus, you can kind of find your niche a lot faster because that's an environment where everybody's already looking to have a good time. Wow. You know, even if they're studying, they're looking to have fun doing that. So the parties, it's like, okay, that was pretty easy. It's just, how do you get in and make your mark? And I knew I wanted to do it at that point because I knew that I was in a place where creatively, I could really grow and really use my mind to its maximum capacity.
Mm. Wow, man. Wow. What explain your DJing style and what separates you from all the you know, you're known as AG. I mean, explain to us your DJing style.
My style. I would say when you're getting started, you don't really have one. And so you're just trying to see what works, like anything else. And then as I started DJing, my style became the idea that when you are well versed in all the decades of music, you can play anything at any point and nobody knows what's going to come next. So I guess my style would be the surprise element.
Mm.
Once you have a crowd in your hands, you know, you can kind of just put on anything, but it still has to be, you know, good music. But when they don't know where you're about to come from, it could be out of left field, it could be out of right field, but ultimately they don't know what you're doing next, but you've been good up until that point. So it's like, what is he gonna do next? So I think that element of surprise, and I think just being well versed in the decades, it's stuff that's hot from every decade. You know, I do know a lot of DJs that play nothing but new music. I know a lot of DJs that play nothing but old school. But if you utilize the decades correctly, there's stuff that's hot in all the decades where you can kind of run it together a little bit better and a little bit smoother, and you can really leave the people, you know, kind of inspired, you know, and also, you know, the types of gigs you get is going to be based off of your style. So I think the reason why I ended up getting a whole lot of wedding receptions and corporate events is because if you run through the decades, a lot of it is good music at the end of the day, no matter how you look at it, no matter what year. And so people, when they come out to something, they just want to hear good music.
Yeah.
And if you play to that, I think that you'll be okay no matter what it is you do.
What's your favorite decade? I mean,
wow. Well, so I'm gonna give you my favorite decade, and I'll give you my favorite genre. My favorite decade is 80s.
Ah, wow. Yeah. Why is that?
I feel like 80s was the last time that great music was made. 90s was I think when good music was made, but 80s was great. And I'm not even just the music. With 80s, you had the hairstyle still. You know, you had people still dressing up, like bands still dressing up in leather outfits and you know, really looking like a collective on stage. I think that once you break into the 90s, you know, that's when, you know, enter gangster rap, enter 90s R&B. Even though there was groups, people kind of had like their own identity. There's a few groups I think that was still dressing alike, but it wasn't as interesting attire as the 80s was. You know, I think of the Rick James album, for example, where he's on the street next to a street sign with the red boots on and the hair. And I mean, come on, man, you can't pass that record and not buy it. And I guess that's another reason. You know, 80s records made you want to buy it just looking at the cover.
Right. Hey, Cedric and I know something about all that.
You ain't kidding right there, boy. You ain't lying there.
Doggy Style. The Doggy Style album made me want to get that one. That's really the most creative one I saw in the 90s with Snoop Doggy Dogg's debut album. But in that, the music of the 80s, the jargon, the verbiage of the 80s, even the movies. I mean, just everything about the 80s I like. And I was watching the thing on Netflix where they showed the different decades. It just took me back to a time, you know, that I just feel like people were really creative. They were still, you know, Prince, Michael Jackson. Artists were very creative in how they present stuff. And I think that the presentation dumbed down just a little bit. Again, there were some exceptions. You got your MC Hammer who looked like to me an 80s, you know, type of setup. But, you know, you think people like Full Force.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
You know, like, I think this is the time now where you could get back to that. As we all know, everything's
good.
I think we're at a time now where the full force type of stuff. I mean, they wear the tight jeans and tight pants. So,
Wow, that's good, man.
Cranking up in that thing. Might as well.
Wow.
Right.
Who influenced your DJing style?
Okay, so the end all be all to me, let's go ahead and start there, is DJ Jazzy Jeff. DJ Jazzy Jeff is one of those people that's well versed in music. Travels all over the globe. He plays whatever, whenever, and he, you know, once you get that type of respect, you can really play anything. It could be bad, and people still gonna rock with you. But so he's like the top dog of inspiration. And then you know, I had a mentor by the name of DJ Neil in Rockford. I used to go down to the Kryptonite. It was a local venue, and he would DJ and he would run through the decades. And he made me kind of realize, you know, it's your style. You know, it's easy to sound like everybody else as a DJ when you're playing what's on the radio right now. But how do you show your personality as a DJ? So he taught me how to show my own personality. And then I'll be honest to say, Too Deep inspired my style.
Wow.
So, you know, I grew up around Too Deep. For those of y'all that, you know, may not know, I'm sure most people that's tuned in, Cedric is he's my stepfather, and he's within Too Deep. And I used to be around the Too Deep practices. I watched Too Deep work a crowd, and that inspired not just my collection, but showmanship, because you can be, you know, a comedian as well as a DJ.
Yeah.
You can make people laugh and dance.
Wow.
And I think once I realized that, I was like, okay, you know, you can really be dynamic in this craft, where you can really touch on more than one emotion of people.
Wow.
You know, people come out to have fun. They don't necessarily, and then they come out to laugh. They might laugh with the people they're with, but when the DJ can, you know, crack a joke here and there, or use the music to take them back to a time. There's one thing, you know, I used to say, imagine what haircut you had when this song came out.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, that's funny, man. You say that because you're so multifaceted, man. You work with so many different forms of art. You know, which one do you like the most? You work with comedy, you work with actors, you work with gospel artists, rap artists, soul artists. Which one do you like the most?
By far, comedians. By
Wow.
far, comedians. Wow. A couple things. A comedian has to work harder than everybody.
Yeah, they do.
Than every artist that you just named. You know, so I think I admire one, because to be a good comedian takes great observation. You're literally just living life, observing life every day. And so it helps you to read life, to read people, to read situations. It just helps with your observation abilities. And I think that's a skill that you can use as an entertainer all around, especially as a DJ. Also, comedians, you know, they have to constantly be writing. So that means they're working. And so it just, you know, if you've known a comedian personally, like I've known a few of them personally that I worked with, you get inspired by the work ethic, because they have to write, you know, constantly, because new jokes are right in front of their face every day. And
wow,
you know, coming up with a new DJ style or with a new way to mix this song with this song. You know, sometimes a song has a word in it that you can loop, that a song that just came out, you know, the song that might be the title. So now you can loop that and then start the new song. It's like you just constantly observe in different ways to play music that people recorded.
Yeah, yeah.
They did the work for you already. What do you do after they recorded the song?
Nice. I want to go back to your instrument. You know what you do. How long did it take you to master that? The ones and twos, the table. How long did it take you to do that? For all the aspiring DJs out there, how long did it take you to learn that?
I would just say I put the 10,000 hours in.
Yeah, that's the rule right there, huh?
If you're familiar with the rule, I wouldn't say that I mastered it, because I think that, you know, there's a humbleness and just a hunger that stays with you with not mastering something. Even if people perceive it that way, I don't want to master anything, because I think, you know, you could potentially get comfortable. I don't know how it feels to master anything. I'm still learning stuff on my controllers, and I kept every one that I've ever bought. So I have, you know, I have Technique turntables, I have Pioneer CDJs, I have the Pioneer CD.
it's a whole controller. There's so many of them. The CDJ X2, I don't know. I can't, SX2. DJs know what I'm talking about. SX2. So I kept it every rig that I bought. And, you know, they all have their skill set with them. And honestly, if I would have maybe just stayed with the DVD player, I would have mastered the DVD player, right? If I would have stayed with the one I got after that, I would have mastered that. It's just once you get more money and you also want to have better presentation, you buy more stuff. And subsequently, you end up having to learn that. And then that last piece of equipment takes a back seat. So I've not mastered any, but, you know, I think that that's what keeps the hunger going.
Wow. What would you say to the young person coming up trying to break into the music industry? What would you say to them?
Besides, don't do it. I say this, man. First thing I would say is know who you are.
Good.
First and foremost, because you know, I think, you know, us on this meeting right now, on this show, and a few other people that I've been around, and then of course everyone that's in the actual industry. If you've been on the inside at any capacity, it could be a real ugly game if you don't know who you are.
Yeah, it can.
If you can't separate your feelings, you know, from being focused on your art.
That's
because
big.
You know, with social media, we live in an age of instant gratification, and because of that, people, you know, start DJing, for example, and when they don't get the response they're looking for right away, they get discouraged and they want to put it down. You know, put the instrument down. First of all, if you really love to do it, you'll never do that. But you just got to really understand that it's not a path, it's a journey. So,
oh, wow.
You know, when I was, and I'll give you the story. When I was out in LA, I was talking to different people that are in the industry. They're not famous, but they're behind the scenes working with the famous people. They had moved to LA. Just about each of them took about 10 to 15 years before they got a break. And that right there says it all to me.
Yeah.
We think that if we've been doing something for 10 years and it hasn't caught that break, that it's not working or it's failing. First of all, you know how you feel about it. Can't nobody tell you. So if you love it, you know. And if you don't love it, you know. So that's another thing I would say. Make sure you love it. You know how you feel. Independent of people doing this right here, and independent of what people are telling you should do, you know what you love to do.
Yeah.
So just keep working at it and focus on the work over the attention. Because it's easy to make Facebook posts about what you're doing.
Yes, it is.
It's easy to say I'm about to go practice on this DJ equipment. But are you really practicing when you turn that post off?
Yeah, it is.
And so focus on the work, put the work in, and you'll get the attention, whether you want it or not. Yeah. But if you focus on attention, I can tell you right now, people's attention spans are real short with this gratification.
You better believe it.
You got to be really good now. I mean, you know, any of us that go live as DJs, you'll see the numbers on there as you DJing, and you'll see, oh, I got a decent amount. And then you look again, and some people have logged off.
Yeah.
Like, you still doing your thing, and only love will keep you on that show at that point.
Wow.
Because you're not doing it for the numbers at that point. You couldn't be, you know, if the numbers get low. So, you know, I would just say, be honest with yourself. Know who you are. Know if you love it or not. You know, keep evaluating if you love it or not. If you want to keep doing it, keep grinding. I've seen people grind 10, 15 years. Barry Brewer is on the show Bruh now, by Tyler Perry. You know, he moved out to LA over 15 years ago. That's one of my homies. He finally got on a regular TV show.
Wow.
You know, it took him that long, but he grinded. He stayed consistent. So that's what I would tell him, man. Just, you know, if you want to get entertainment and you really love it, because again, like I said, when I said don't do it, I'm being sarcastic to a degree, but what I'm saying, if you don't love it, don't do it.
That's right. Yeah. Man, that's big, man.
Grinding it out, because eventually, if you are working on, if you put them 10,000 hours in, you'll be all right.
That's big, man. That's big, man. You know, you work, you know, in the Chicago Bears organization, you work with Peanut Tillman, you work with Alex Brown. You also work, you know, you do an annual thing. I think this is an annual thing. You do an annual thing in Hollywood too, with Hill Hartford. Can you tell us about those experiences?
Okay, I'll start with the Bears. First of all, And some of the stuff I'm gonna say is probably still gonna allude back to the advice that I would give the people. When I went into the Bears organization's event that I first did, I was just there as a photographer, but I was still happy. I'm in Hallis Hall. I see Walter Payton on the wall. I'm in heaven. I started conversing with this guy there named Gus. I didn't know that Gus was the guy over the camp.
Wow.
And I'm just talking with him, you know, and we just chopping it up, and we talking about you know, good opportunities and being faithful to kind of what we talking about right now. We're talking about, you know, staying with it, and you know, when you meet good people, good things happen.
Yeah.
And then I found out halfway through, like, he's over the whole event that's going on. So
wow.
I told him, you know, I DJ as well. And I told him, you know, I would come in and you know, I would do the first one. And I want to be transparent about this. I said I would come in and do the first one for free for you. You know what I'm saying?
That's good. That's good.
I said I'm a Bears fan first and foremost.
You got to give up something. Yeah.
I said I'll do the first one for free. So he said, you know what? If you come back and do the first one for free, the next event that was coming up, he said, I'll get you paid after that if you're good. So I came back, did the next thing for free. He, you know, and y'all know on that level, you know, the calls ain't like every week. It's like all of a sudden you get one out the blue.
Oh, don't we know?
And so when I got that second call, I hadn't even got any feedback on the first event. So, you know, that's how I knew I did good, is when he finally called back for the next event. He said, we're gonna get you some money for this one. You know, you get this much money, and we want you to do the next 3 events, you know, and this is that. We're gonna get you some beer stuff. And I'm like, man, what? You know, so when I went back in there the second time to DJ, I was just in awe, like at the idea that I built a relationship with somebody not knowing what he did exactly.
Wow.
We were just sitting there having a conversation. I didn't know. And it made me realize that there has to be an organic component to how you shake and move. It can't always be trying to, I need to meet him for this opportunity.
Yeah.
Because if you don't get it, you'll get disappointed. It don't always work that way. So that's how the Bears thing happened. As far as Peanut Tillman, because I had already started working with the Bears, then Peanut's wife actually called me. They have a Cornerstone Foundation for their daughter and for other kids in their daughter's situation. That's their personal stuff. I don't, you know, but you can go to the Cornerstone Foundation.org and look that up. And I did that event, and then, you know, now this one, all the Bears players is at this one. So I was in heaven ×2 at that point. You know,
I know that's right. Yeah.
I grew up watching, you know, and you know, I'm in there playing Bear Down, and it, you know, it's a great experience. But again, I think that the thing I love the most about the Bears experience is just that it was organic. It wasn't, you know, it wasn't me trying to get in there. Somebody brought me in there as a photographer, and I worked the magic from there. As far as Hollywood, I actually had a certain path to that. I was working for CRW events in Chicago, and also Go For Yours Foundation in Chicago. Shout out to Candace Reed and Erica McCall.
Yeah.
And they, you know, Erica, she's been working with Theo Harper for years, and she started working with Nate Parker. And Candace was working along with Erica McCall. So, you know, when the opportunity came, so here's the thing. I did graphic design, is what happened. I did graphic design for the event, and then they said they need a DJ to open.
Wow. Wow, man. Talking about being at the right place at the right time. Wow.
Right. We're gonna bring out to Hollywood, and I'm like, are you, you know, again, you know, are you serious? So I get there, and I opened up, and I went live actually, so you can still find it on Facebook somewhere. And I'm at the W Hotel in Hollywood, and I'm overlooking the city, and I'm looking around, and again, God had to take the reins.
Yeah.
Because you know, I listened to something that DeAndre said on here. You know, if you don't get nervous, you don't love it. You know,
that's beautiful. Yeah.
You don't care enough.
Yeah.
And I cared so much that I got real nervous. But once I started getting in my mode, you know, I was able to DJ, talk to people smooth, and then I saw them come in. I'm like, okay, yeah, now the party gets started. So, you know, I did it 3 years in a row. They went in a different direction for 2019, but I did it 2016 to 2018. I got to, you know, know Nate a little bit, and he's a really nice guy. He has the Nate Parker Foundation where he works with youth and doing media and stuff like that. He remembers you when he see you every time. You know, what's going on, bro? You know what I'm saying?
That's
Real
good.
cool. But
Yeah.
you know, I was in a room that night with a bunch of celebrities, and I realized too that night, you know, the level that you have to really work on to maintain being in a room like that, because that was a room full of them, and it's if you're not good at what you do, and that's the adverse reaction. You get that call, and if you're not ready, you won't get the call again.
I mean, let me ask you a question. Did you have a sense of that you belong there? Did you sense that?
By the second time, I would say I felt like I belong there. I think, you know, when you first DJ for celebrities and you're DJing and you look out there and they're dancing to what you're doing, it's kind of surreal the first time. But the next time I felt like I belonged. And I also just kind of realized, you know, once you start to get to know some of these people personally, their day look just like your day. You know,
Yeah,
a lot of times we see the makeup and the glitz and the glamour, but they be, you know, they be looking just like us right now with our hoodies on, people in the house. You know,
that's right.
They ain't doing too much. They just, you know, they're kind of bored most of the day.
That's right.
Right.
And you know, so I feel like I belong just from a standpoint of knowing how to interact, knowing how to help some of them build brands and things like that, because, you know, I do a few different things. But yeah, I felt like I belonged definitely after the second time.
That's beautiful, man. One
Wow.
last question, man. What do we expect from AG, man? What do we expect from in the future, man? Well, you know.
Well, I would say I kind of live without the expectations in a sense at this point. When I think about everything I did in my 30s and now I'm 40, and I think that if you do a certain amount in your 30s, it takes the pressure off you in the next phase.
Wow.
And then you can just kind of live and kind of move about without feeling like you have to impress or please or appease people.
Good.
You
Yeah.
can expect from me, honestly, it's just learning more of who I really am,
Yeah.
independent of what people have cheered on, because I only like to DJ certain things at this point, certain events. So as I was telling y'all earlier, I've turned stuff down just because it no longer sits well with where I'm going, you know, direction mentally wise, you know, it's only certain stuff that I'm actually accepting from a DJ standpoint. But I do the photography, I do the graphic design still, and I help people like, for example, I don't know if you've seen the Surviving R. Kelly series, but
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, Javante Cunningham, she's one of the people that's on that, and I've helped her with branding material as she starts her own organization. I've helped, you know, a few people with marketing and branding material, and I also realized that the longevity is more behind the scenes than it is out in front.
Wow, that's big, man. That's big. You need to say that again, man. That's big, man. That's huge.
It's for me. You know that you know, they say that 15 minutes. I've never been famous, right? I think that, you know, coming from where I'm from, I've maybe done some notable things, but I've at least tasted a little bit of success from a standpoint of limelight, if you will.
Yeah.
And the maintenance that it takes, I'm just at a place more so now where I'm like, you know what? It has to feel real to me. It has to feel true to me. And I think that ultimately it will maintain from that point on. I don't have to pressure myself so much to do something. And I don't think anyone has to pressure themselves so much to do something when it's something that's natural to who they are. So.
Yeah, man.
Wow. Yeah. Man, AG, most people know I run a youth junior tackle football program here in Rockford, as well as doing this show. And you work with us, and we've been so grateful to have you DJ at our games and announce our games. You do a lot of work with youth here in the city. And then talk a little bit about your work with young people.
Okay. Well, I work a lot with the Rockford Park District in terms of the youth camps of all sorts. So that's junior NBA, flag football, the girls basketball camps, the track and field, and I work with the youth in their capacity. Like they bring me in to do a lot of photography, sometimes to do the DJ stuff. But, you know, from just more of a personal level, you know, I'm out there trying to capture the youth and trying to make it real to them in terms of, I want them to be able to see through a photo, see themselves as somebody that can really make it in that sport.
That's big. Wow.
You know, so the reason why I love what the Park District is doing, and I want to get to you, Steve, and what you're doing, because what you're doing is amazing too. The junior NBA, they wear Bulls jerseys. You know, they look like the real deal. In the flag football, they was wearing Bears jerseys. They look like the real deal. And I think that it's important that the kids feel like they're doing what's going on in the league.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that it makes it real to them. And that's the thing I love most about working with the Park District and their efforts in creating programming for children. Steve and Steve's football program, the thing I love the most about that is it's at Rock Valley Stadium. These kids are playing in a stadium.
Yeah.
And if you really want to help these kids get ready for the next level, you got to put them on the playing field where the next level looks like.
That's right. That's right.
The program is so great, in fact, that you know, whenever I've captured it, because I've done photography and DJ for that, you know, a lot of the parents are asking, "What's that?" That's how I know when something is really effective, is when somebody can look at pictures and say, what sports program is that? You know, so what Steve had going on there with the youth programming is amazing. Everything is like the big leagues, from the music playing while the game is going. I can't even make y'all understand how hard sometimes it is to make certain organizers understand you need music while people are coming in and being seated.
Yeah.
You need music while people are coming in. You need an announcer. Announce the kids as they come out the tunnel, like they do in the NFL.
Yes.
You do that. It gives them a sense of confidence. It's just lit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It makes it better. So anything you can do to enhance these programs, why wouldn't you add it? Especially if you got somebody that's willing to help. And the thing I love about Steve and what he's doing, he's willing. Not only, you know, he'll tell you what he won't. I'm sorry, I'm talking about you like you're not here, Steve. But I love that you tell me what you want, but you actually like allow me to give any, you know, type of input as well. And so, you know, and the kids, you know, especially in my hometown, in our hometown, I think that when they work with people like us who have, you know, done things on a respectable scale, that also makes it real to them. That's my biggest thing is, you know, not babysitting kids, making these programs real to them so that they really feel like they got a chance to make it. Because otherwise, you know, to me, it's just them doing something to pass the time. So I value working with the youth and giving back, and also just, you know, trying to, you know, help them enhance whatever they're trying to do. So,
man, we certainly appreciate you and all that you do for young people in this city, man, at Rockford, Illinois. Big shout out to Rockford University for allowing us to use their stadium, and especially Screw Manufacturing for sponsoring us. SSU is our youth football program. What's up to everybody? AG, you know we all love you here, man.
I gotta say this, man. I you know, I know your mom is so proud of you. She's telling me every day, I'm proud of you. Dad's proud of you, man. Yeah. You know, the whole Rockford, man. Do you have any political admirations, man? I
mean, well, I'll say this. I think that everyone should know the basics of politics. When the conversations come up, you should at least be able to engage to some degree. I probably know a little bit more than I may lead on at times. But I would say this, you know, this country has a history and it hasn't changed in the grand scheme of things. So the only way I see any change kind of happening is that if there's more minorities in these political positions. That's the only thing I can see giving us any chance. And so my admirations personally, you know, I'll do the campaign for you. I'll do the promotional material. I'll design your banner. I'll design your yard sign. I'll do your music video if you need me to do. I'll DJ your vote party, the election day party. I've done all this stuff that I'm mentioning, by the way. You know, that's usually, again, that's my lane in it. That's what
I hear you.
I hear you. Me sitting in front of people doing this right here, that's not me. I'm not about to be doing that. That's about as far as my political admirations go. But I'm very.
I'm voting for AG, man. You got my vote, AG.
Yeah, I'm running. I'm not running for nothing.
I hear you. I hear you.
Man, well, AG, man, you know, that brings me right into this question, man. You know, right now we're dealing with Black Lives Matter, a young Black youth movement in the country, and it is spreading throughout the world. Give us your thoughts on Black Lives Matter movement today as a young Black man.
Well, I'll start off by saying that I think it's highly misconstrued. No different than the Black Panther Party was misconstrued, you know, when it was formed. People, let me, because I want to be as politically correct as I can, but also be as transparent and real as I can be. I think that Black Lives Matter, first of all, I don't like the name because it's too passive. I think that we went with Black Lives Matter because we were trying to make it, we were trying to soften it so that it would be accepted by everyone. The history of this, in the history of this country, from what I've seen, Black empowerment has never been accepted, nor will it never be. This country was not created for our benefit. And so we're just living here. And until we start our own Wakanda, this is how it's going to be. You know, we can protest, we can march, we can boycott, we can do all these different things. It's not going to change because it was created the way it's been created, and we're at 400 years at least, right? So I don't, if something happens for 400 years regularly, like rain and sun, and it's going to keep happening. So Black Lives Matter, I stopped explaining it to people that tried to act like they didn't understand. People know what it is. People know that Black Lives Matter does not suggest that other lives don't. People know.
Right.
We don't have to act slow. We don't have to act like we don't understand. People just racist. And then they just need to be honest about it. People that want to talk about Black Lives Matter being anti other people or anti other cultures, they just need to admit that they're racist and they don't want to agree with the idea of Black Lives Matter. And I was using the analogy of when people talk about breast cancer awareness, nobody comes in saying all awareness matters, you know? You know, wow. If you did that, you'd be perceived as a jerk. I had to say you're a jerk. You're a jerk if someone says Black Lives Matter and you say all lives matter. I feel that way strongly. And it's wrong to combat Black Lives Matter with all lives matter when you know the history of this country and you know the real reason why it was curated. It was curated because of injustice to people of color, Black and brown, minorities, but you know, mostly Black people. And my stance on it is, let's stop saying Black Lives Matter then. Let's just say stop killing Black people. Why? It don't need a name.
Wow.
You don't need a name. If you say Black Lives Matter, you're gonna say all lives matter. Just stop killing Black people.
Yeah.
Now let's see if somebody say stop killing all people when you say that. And then we can have a different conversation. What all people are we talking about getting killed besides Black people? You know, it's ridiculous, and it irks my soul whenever I hear somebody do that. So I mean, I'm glad that there's people that are willing to fight for our injustice. There's people that's willing to, you know, right now here in the hometown, there's people that's, you know, occupying City Hall. I'm not going to do that, but there are people that are going to do that, and I think that that's great that they're doing it, and I support them 100%. There's people that protest and march. I'm not going to do that anymore. I've done it in the past. It's not my lane anymore. I'm a boycotter. So what that means is, and because the Montgomery bus boycott was single-handedly the most effective boycott in the history of the United States, that's why I boycott. I choose to buy from certain people and to not buy from certain businesses.
Good.
And at the end of the day, that's what's most effective, because when you think of when someone says something offensive on the radio, they're not getting fired from the radio, or shows are not getting canceled because all of a sudden everybody started loving black people. That's not why they're getting canceled. They're getting canceled because that dollar. And they don't want to lose the black dollar.
Believe it. That's right.
The black dollar is very powerful. And once we really kind of realize that and understand that that's what's been the most effective, more people will boycott. I don't think that it should stop the other efforts, but that's where I stand in terms of my way of contributing to the flight of us. And so, you know, I think Black Lives Matter. Keep on marching, but you know.
Yes, sir.
How do you feel? This is low. How do you feel about the black contract, the Ice Cube?
Well,
how do you feel about that?
From my understanding, he went to both parties to try to work out a deal for black people. So if that's what happened, I think it's an awesome thing. I think it's somebody using a platform of you know, a celebrity platform to try to gain change. I don't see how you can be mad at that. I've seen that, you know, there were certain things that were kind of said about, you know, him potentially selling out. I'd have to get more details of why he sold out. But they said, you know, he went to the Dems initially, and the Dems said after the election. The Republicans, he went to Donald Trump. Donald Trump was willing to sit and listen. And I think that Ice Cube is smart enough to realize like he could get reelected. So he said, let's have a plan in place, you know. And so again, until I hear otherwise, until I hear that you know, he was trying to do something that was harmful to minority people, I don't have anything against what he did. And I think that that's an awesome thing that he did, actually. But again, I could possibly not have enough information.
I have one last question. You know, locally here, you know, we Rockford people, man. You know, let's talk about us, man. What do you think? You know, you see a lot of us killing us. You know, what do you think as a community? How you know, how can we come together, man? You know, and alleviate a lot of this, you know, anger that we have for one another.
Man, Stead, you're asking $1 million question. I think the best answer I have today, that God just had to put it in my head, is we have to broaden our horizons as individuals. I understand the idea of a community repping for the community. Do not get me wrong. I think that it's nice to have local spirit, local love. All of that is great. It's great. But I think that if you're only confined within these walls, and I use that word walls, then your horizons aren't broad enough to see bigger sometimes. And so that is what causes the mentality that would grow into people that would want to kill people that they live right next door to. Because you don't see more for yourself. I think that that's definitely people that, you know, if you like, I've never grabbed a gun to kill somebody. You know, never even crossed my mind in real life, you know, outside of like being mad and huffing and puffing. You know, actually going to get a gun. And so you got to think of the potential mentality behind somebody that will do something like that to somebody. And not just ruin their life and their family's life, but their own life.
Yeah, that's good.
I just think that the best answer I have, besides, you know, go everybody going to Jesus, and it's just everyone must broaden their horizons and see more for themselves. And you know, there's been efforts made in terms of people like yourself, like me, like some of the people that you've interviewed on the show, who have tried to, you know, start programming here to try to help with that, to try to give them the youth more to do, because the age group are usually, you know, pretty young adults or teenagers, stuff like that. It's really hard to solve, but I just think that the best that you can do is try to make your contribution individually.
There you go.
It's no different
Good, good.
When people say be the change you want to see, you can't control what everybody else is out here doing. But if you love this city and you want to make your contribution to it in a positive way, then do it. And don't care what people say. And don't always think you have to be in an organization either. You can start by yourself.
That's right. It's big.
Right. Man, AG, man, that's some real good wisdom, bro.
Wow.
Real good wisdom, bro.
Yeah.
Let us know, man, like what's happening in music right now. What's the hot tracks, man?
Yeah, man.
I don't like new music. But you know, the Baby is definitely killing the game right now. You know, Roddy Ricch is killing the game. The Pop Smoke, you know, before he passed away, he got some stuff going on right now. So that's what's new, you know. Those are just a few artists right there. There's some hot stuff out. Don't get me wrong. You know, I'm in the clubs and I'm either doing photography or listening to the next DJ, and I'm still bobbing my head because I'm in the club and I'm having a good time. But you know, that's the time and place. You won't hear none of that stuff in my vehicle. Honestly, I listen to a lot of older music. That's what I do in my own time. And you know, as far as just the movement right now, it's a really good opportunity for any DJ or really any entertainer, but you know, we're talking about DJing. It's a good opportunity for anybody to kind of break in, because when COVID shut down everything,
yes, it is. Yeah.
It kind of created this lane where everybody could display their skills virtually, and thus, because a lot of people were at home, it allowed people to be seen that, you know, in breaking the game that wouldn't have been seen if life was resuming as it was before, prior to COVID. So, you know, I would say, you know, it's a great opportunity right now, man.
It's wide open. Yeah, it is.
Live band, you know, virtual, and don't think that, you know, when stuff get back to normal that's gonna stop. Now people have conducted Zoom meetings regularly. They're not gonna be quick to go in person anymore because it's convenient.
Yeah, it is.
A meeting instead of, you know, I think that in-person interaction will still have its place and it will still exist, but you know, that this virtual thing is going to keep going. And so if you're a live band, if you're even a comedian, if you want to do YouTube videos of any kind, you know, it's a good time right now because people are really watching and listening because they're mostly at home. They can't go get around like they used to right now.
Yeah,
right. Well,
that's great.
AG, man, we thank you, man.
Yes,
how
we
can
do.
people get in touch with you if they want to book you for any shows or engagements? Where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram at DJ Rated AG. That's my DJ page. Then my photography page is keep underscore that underscore same underscore imagery. So it's keep that same imagery. I went with that because I feel like it's an eye catcher and it's kind of worked so far. So, but it's Rated AG Images on Facebook. So both of those are the same on Instagram and Facebook. I also have a Smug Mug page for my photography, so you can go there and check that out. I have a YouTube channel, so if you type in DJ Rated AG, you can see a lot of the weddings I've done, events I've done in Hollywood, events I've done for the Bears, stuff like that. There's just different videos that you can click on and check out and subscribe, man. You know, show brother love, make a comment. You know, even if it's a negative one, I'm a big boy, I can take it. And you know, if you want to book too, there's always your DMs. You know, a lot of people use the DMs to book people. I'm not against it. I get a lot of gigs that way, and you know, I would just say if you want to book me, just know that I'm usually taking events nowadays that are, you know, for grown folks.
Yeah.
Grown folks. Yeah, we want to have a good time, and we want to leave the way we came, and we want to leave inspired. And
I know that's right. I hear you. I hear you.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
But man, this has been an honor and a pleasure, man.
Man, it has, man. We
chopping it up with you, bro.
Yeah, yes, this has.
On this end, and let me say, Cedric, man, you know, I just want to thank you for showing me, because I think this is huge, and I want people to hear this. You know, growing up around 2D, I remember when I went to the waterfront, because my dad used to get a bunch of tickets and he used to work the waterfront. And we walked down the street and 2D was playing. Before this, Cedric had told me that he had a band. And up until that point, everything I saw was rinky dink that I laid eyes on. Not that it was nothing but everything I laid my eyes on. And I remember hearing 2D playing Whip Appeal by Babyface. And I said, I went back. First, I told my dad, man, they good. Like, they're a real band. And then I went to my mom. And then the next time I saw Cedric, which actually was in his house, back in 1990 or so. And I said, Cedric, y'all real good, man. Like, y'all great. Like, like I was in awe that everything was just amazing. And that's important, I think, to a child or to anybody that want to do what they want to do. I always say, like, I had the best of both worlds. I grew up around New Appeal. I don't know if y'all remember the dance group New Appeal.
Yeah.
But I grew up around them, and then I grew up around 2D. And when you can be right next to people that can show you how to do something like that on a high level, it's going to make its impact.
It's big.
You know, because now and I mean, I used to listen to the conversations Cedric would have with his brothers, my uncles, and so I even learned how to talk to people, and also how to have a thick skin.
That's huge.
Yeah.
So I just want to thank you for marrying my mom.
Oh yeah.
And
best years of my life. Yeah.
And but also for just for being that example of how to do stuff professionally, not just from the entertainment standpoint, but from the business part too, where you're getting booked and you're talking it through with somebody on the other end of the phone. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah. It's all love, man. All love.
Man, that's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Hey, we want to hear you, man.
Yeah.
The ones and twos real quick.
Yes, sir.
Out, baby. You want me to spin a little bit more?
Yeah.
Let me see what I can. Let me see what I can.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Hey, I thank y'all for having me, man. And I'm finna just switch this camera around a little bit and see what selection I'm about to play.
Hey, well, everybody for listening, we want to thank you for listening in.
We thank y'all. Thank you,
AG. And we will see you on next week. So stay tuned in to Steve and Cedric Talking to the Band.
Yep.
AG, take us out, baby.
Take us out, baby.
All right, let me get some. First of all, let me say rest in peace to Paradise.
Yeah, P Dice.
Southside legend.
Yeah.
P Dice, that was my homie, man. And, that was also one of my inspirations for the DJ and stuff. Just artistically, Dice is still one of the most creative people I've ever known in my life. So it behooves me. Yeah, it behooves me to give him a shout out, man. And
yes, sir.
We love and we miss him. And so let me see what we got here with some Dice on it.
Yes, sir. There it is, Cedric.
Yeah.
Going out to all you fine black sisters out there in the streets, you know what I'm saying? Those that do what's wrong, those that do what's right. But it's all to the good, you know what I'm saying? I know all y'all out there that heard that phrase. Women can't live with it, can't live without it. I'm living up to that phrase, kid. So all my players out there, I know y'all can relate to this. Bob y'all head. Well, it will be my very pleasure. Let's see the fine and dine. Picture me and you sitting across from each other, looking at you eye. Why do I do the things I do just to please you? I'm sitting here looking at the top of you, making me just want to squeeze you. See you caressing all your spots in the right place. Soon as you get needed, let's get treated to some Alizé. All around we doing this thing, you know you got me thinking in my head. You could be a bitch, all I wanna do is get the bed. Clutch I read, get my eye from the damn alcohol. Plus the hate that we was keeping when we got back from the mall. Stop for a minute, let my mentality be operate. Intoxication is taking over our body today. Have fun while it lasted, now it's time for all this fun to end. Alcohol
holla at you, do some things every now and then. Check your friends, tell them don't be splurging on the shit they see. I was hot as Tommy, but I tried to run up in my queen.
We out, Cedric. Take us on out.
We out here, y'all. Good night. We'll see y'all next week, y'all.
Yes, sir.
AG, thank you, man. Love you, brother.
Much love, man. Much love.
That you can see it, then you can get it unless you're down and shoot the cloud if you come down and took the crown at you. While the niggas get taken and put the frown at you, the down at you, you was some kind of shit. On this island, we been riding and never sit the road. You know, I took a real fucking mad piece, sipping down deep, trees for my tongue.
Rated AG.
Ah.